welcome back to Cultivating Resilience. Today, we will explore how communities come together to support mental well-being, how we can foster connection, support, and healing stronger together as a community. Jess, thank you so much for being here with us today. Tell me, what does it mean to be a resilient community?
Certainly. Thank you for having me, Tonya. It's my pleasure to be here today. Really, communities, what that means to me is really developing your network of individuals around you that you trust, that have maybe shared experiences or similar, interests, thoughts, and so forth. They're your people.
Yeah, I love that. Your people. I think it's probably important for all of us in communities to be surrounded by our people. One of the things you mentioned, Jess, was networks. Tell me a little bit, especially when we're doing community advocacy, community change, the important role of networks.
Yeah, I think with your network is you're stronger together. So it's using your voice collectively to really invoke that change, surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals. Maybe they're individuals who have shared experiences, shared interests, or just very passionate about, similar things. In your community, it may be your teens that want to play on a sport game or so forth, or it could be our coalition or those members that really kind of activate together to become stronger as that coalition of individuals.
It's almost like what you're talking about is maybe some shared initiatives or shared passions.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we can find those areas, we're probably surrounded by people that we feel a greater sense of connection or belonging to. How can initiatives or some of those passions really ignite that sense of a resilient community?
Yeah, I think with that, you're giving space in order to come together and really share your voice, to be heard, really just having that opportunity really to, like I said, surround yourself with like-minded individuals, and just develop empathy towards each other, really build that trust because you do have kind of a shared interest.
Yeah, it's almost like the thing you highlight is this trust, this safety. And part of that is probably like celebrating diversity as well, that we're with like-minded people for a shared cause, but we're celebrating each other's differences and what we bring to the table. How does that make us more well?
Yeah, because everyone within your community, maybe they have a different experiences that bring them to the table. They're viewing it from a different lens. Maybe their upbringing or what they've experienced throughout life certainly kind of transforms the role in which they serve within your community. So it is celebrating that diversity and cultivating that, leveraging our strengths and our unique values in order to be stronger together.
The important thing is people having access and open doors to be able to be in these shared spaces. Why is that so important?
Yeah, I think it's giving that opportunity, right? So as a community, you can really foster that by having those open doors, having those opportunities, whether it be your community centers that you invest in or having those support groups or even like peer support groups to bring people together and around the table and build that network. By giving them those open spaces or creating those safe spaces for them to come together, you're actually helping to foster and cultivate that resiliency as well as the community well-being.
Yeah, I'm guessing at those points then, if those doors and that access is open and I'm engaged then, I'm more likely to call for help if I need it. I'm more likely to receive that and also give back. It's like this mutual exchange in the community. Why does that matter so much?
Well, with that, you're building your village, right? They're the people that you're interacting with day to day. And so by providing those opportunities, that's your way to build that resiliency, right? To know who to go to become stronger amongst one another. You know who you can turn to. You've got shared experiences and can just kind of build off of one another.
Yeah. Jess, you're a parent and a professional in the community, and I've seen you have lots of different networks or pocket of people, different connections that help you. So tell me what that feels like as a person in a community to know, okay, I feel this sense of connection or belonging with this basketball group or with this coalition to help advocate for mental health. Like you're bouncing ideas off of each other, resources. It seems like it makes you stronger, but it also makes everybody else stronger too.
Well, yeah, because you have individuals that have your back, right? Like you're in those elements where you're celebrating successes together. Maybe it's a win for your basketball team, or you're sharing that loss and just kind of building and holding each other up. As coalition members, you're able to advocate and use your collective voice for change. So really just, it's giving you that strength in numbers.
Yeah. What are practical ways for people to get involved if they're not really even sure how to start? what would be a way for them to really look at ways that they could get involved in their communities?
I think one thing is to show interest and just to show up in those spaces. So many of our communities, they do have groups, whether it be within the school setting, whether it be, through the library even, join a book club type of thing. Find your people, identify what are those passions that you have, and then seek out some of those opportunities. So knowing who are those trusted, maybe adults or individuals in your community that can then help kind of navigate towards those open spaces.
So if I'm a community member and I'm getting a survey from the local school, or there's a town hall that I could show up to, or my legislators are asking me questions, use my voice?
Certainly. Yep. You need to use your voice because without it, right, if you're silent, then they're not going to know kind of your position on different things. So certainly show up in those spaces. Sometimes if you're not comfortable to speak up, just being present, just physically being present and showing that your support of that initiative, I think also really helps.
I'm guessing a big part of that also comes with just feeling informed, like learning about what the community is struggling with. What are the needs of the community? Because then maybe it feels like we know how to use our voice and lean into those connections when we really have a better understanding of what are the struggles people are facing.
Mm-hmm.
How do people get curious about that?
I think it's becoming part of that community, right? Of knowing, building empathy for your others around you is just having a conversation, like sitting down side by side with other members of your community and learning about each other and maybe what their struggles are. So that way you can become more informed.
In a world where we often live kind of in isolation or connected to our phones and heads down, what is the risk to community resilience if we don't continue to open up those avenues where we really are connecting, we're having actual conversations, we're engaging in dialogue? What's the long-term risks?
I think that the studies will show just the impact on resiliency and the ability to kind of rise through adversity. And so without those connections, I think that we do unfortunately have challenges with our own mental well-being and that of those in our community.
Just what I hear you talking a lot about is resilience is really built together. It's this collective response. And part of that, we've talked in some other segments about restorative practices, just getting comfortable in tough conversations because it makes us stronger. It makes us better understand each other. Tell me about the importance of that.
That stronger together, that philosophy there is like you're better able to support each other's mental well-being. You're better able to be equipped to face the challenges, that might come day to day. So that really helps, really that collective responsibility because we all kind of have a role to play in it.
Yeah. And it's like overcoming some of those fears that come with, I don't want to show up at that town hall, or because it might be contentious, or people might be upset. But just sitting in that, it's okay for us to use our voices and for people to have a passionate response or to feel really energized by something, because it allows us to better understand what we need together as a community and see all of the different perspectives at play.
Certainly. And, sometimes putting yourself in those spaces can be intimidating.
Yeah.
It can be hard to go to an area where maybe you're called upon to use your voice. So there's other ways in which you can get engaged within your community. Maybe it's, showing up to volunteer for your PTA or going to some of the community events, whether it be your, town days, or just showing up in those spaces and being a member of your community and using your voice to really help build your community and make it stronger together.
Yeah. Even say just smiling when you go in and out of the gas station, right? Every little thing matters.
Definitely.
Communities thrive when we lift each other up and prioritize well-being. Let's keep building stronger, more resilient communities together.